Hello and welcome. This is Not So Live, and this is episode 34, and this is Double R. So, in today's episode, I'll be talking about sci-fi, that is TV shows, characters, and also movies that I've not spoke about before. So, before I get the episode started, I'd like to mention also on the 12th of Feb 2023, the Super Bowl will be taking place where the Chiefs versus the Eagles. Not much of an NFL fan, but I thought I'd mention it because I know it is a massive sporting event. So, to kick off the sci-fi episode, I'm going to mention the Star Trek franchise and mainly the Next Generation. Not watched every single episode, but I have watched a few. Probably one of my most favourite is Star Trek series. The reason I'm bringing up Star Trek is the villains and the alien race known as the Borg. So when I was introduced to Star Trek, it was Next Generation. This was in the 95, 96. I was just a little kid. Before that, the only science fiction I'd really watched was Doctor Who, and got introduced to the Star Trek, and there was something about the Borgs that really, wow, there was quite menacing, there was ruthless, and it was just, enjoyable to watch. One of their lines, which they said was, "Resistance is futile," and the Borg civilization was a hive or a group mind known as the Borg Collective. So yeah, I thought to start off the science fiction episode, I would mention these. The Borgs also were a cyborg. That's what Borg sound was short for, was cyborg. These was also similar to the Cybermen, which were Doctor Who villains, and these were a favourite of mine in Doctor Who, and the Borg sort of resembled a similar pattern, and I think that's why I liked them as much as I did. A little more history on Star Trek Next Generation. It originally released and ran from September the 28th, 1987 up until May 23rd, 1994. There was also a few films released as well. Also, another science fiction TV series which also had a film or two was Stargate SG1. Not really watched it. I can remember watching the first film they did, and I think I've watched one or two episodes, but I'd give it a mention as it's a science fiction TV series. The series originally released July 27th, 1997, and this ran up until March 13th, 2007. I didn't realise it'd run for so long. So, the original network was Showtime. This aired seasons 1 to 5, and then the show was moved to Sci-Fi Channel. This aired seasons 6 to 10. So, in total, there was 10 seasons. Another science fiction TV series, which was probably one of my favourites, and in some cases was on par with The Simpsons at times, was Futurama, a cartoon which saw Philip J. Fry, who was cryogenically preserved for 1,000 years, be brought to the future. It was revived December 31st in the year 2099. One of my favourite characters in the series is the robot Bender. Brilliant character. If you've not watched it, well, I don't know, maybe people have come across episodes. Not going to say everyone likes the series, but I think it's funny and I highly recommend it. And moving away from the TV series, as I want to talk about a sci-fi film which is up there as one of the greats, is the Star Wars A New Hope. One of my favourite science fiction films to watch. I think the first 3 films were absolutely fantastic, and just the story in general. I don't think there's a time where it's not been on really, and I've not sat there and watched it, even if it's like halfway through. Sometimes it's just nice to kick back, and especially the first film, A New Hope, that for me was brilliant, especially how it starts, where the stormtroopers take over the ship and the droids escape. It's like, it's kind of dropping you into a science fiction film that's already halfway through, but yet it seems to make sense and everything fits together. I think it's brilliant. What amazes me about the Star Wars, the first film, is I watched a documentary on how it was created and the effort and the hard work George Lucas put into it. And when you see it on screen, it looks phenomenal. But then you take away the green screens, and a lot of the stuff that they were using were just models that had been built just for that purpose. And it was like, wow. I know, I remember part of the documentary, actually George Lucas actually was in hospital due to chest pains. The film and the production of the film was that stressful. He thought he was having a heart attack, but it was just stress related. And obviously it was ahead of its time, and the way it was all pieced together. I mean, if you watch Star Wars without the green screen, it just looks totally weird. So watching the documentary and watching the film and seeing that these big massive spaceships and all this stuff were just little, well, I say little, the models were actually quite big, but that's all it was. It's just like, wow, you've got that in front of you and then you've made it and it looks like it's actually in outer space. I just thought it was fascinating. Whilst talking about the Star Wars, a Star Wars TV show that I watched a while back now, it's on the Disney Plus app, was The Mandalorian. I've only seen season 1, but I thought it was brilliant. 8 episodes, and it is well worth watching. There is a season 2. This come out in 2020. I don't think I've seen season 2. I'll have to look into that. But I highly recommend season 1. I thought it was brilliant. Actually, I'm quite behind on the Star Wars TV series. I'm shocked that season 2 come out in 2020, and then I'm just reading now that there's actually a season 3, which original release date was March 1st, 2023. So I need to play catch up really. It's just having the time to sit and just watch and get into it. I think it took me like 4 days to get through the first season of The Mandalorian. I'm more of a film person, because I think you can spend 2.5 hours watching a film and then it's done. Whereas a TV series, you could spend 40 to 60 minutes watching the episode, and then you're like, oh no, I've got to watch episode 2. And then before you know it, you're 3 or 4 episodes in, and it's going on for like 1:30 in the morning. And it ain't good when you got work the next day. So, moving away from Star Wars and on to Predator. Now, for me, the first Predator film was the best. I did enjoy Predator 2, A Concrete Jungle, and I also watched the new Predator film that they put on Disney a while back called Prey, and I liked how the pistol that was in that tied into the Predator 2 film. But going back to Predator 1, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, who, well, actually, there was a star-studded cast in that film, when you look at it. But just in general, the way they get picked off one by one, and then it comes down to the one-on-one, and now he realises that the Predator uses a heat-seeking device to find out where he is, so he covers himself in that mud and the clay, so it cools his body core temperature down, and he sets all these booby traps. It was a shame that Arnie wasn't in Predator 2, even if it was just a cameo at the end or something, but it's still a really good film. And I also enjoyed the first 2 Alien films, and then after that, Alien 3, I don't know, they seem as good. I've not really watched much after that. I have got the box set, I should say. And I tried watching Alien 3 and 4, and I just couldn't get into it. And then there was the Alien versus Predator. The first one was okay, I enjoyed it, but I disliked the second one. I think I've mentioned that before, not 100% sure though. And then they followed on with Alien with Prometheus, and I watched the first one, and it was okay-ish. And I think they have done a newer Alien film since, which I have not watched yet. So that's something that I need to sit and watch. But yes, as far as Alien goes, the first 2 for me was the best. So the last science fiction film I will mention is the original Robocop, which came out in 1987. I'd not saw this film for years, and then I come across it, I don't know if it was on Netflix or Amazon Prime, and I sat and watched it, and I'd forgot just how gory and brutal the film was. But yeah, it was brilliant at the same time. And just the effects, to say it was 1987, the effects they used and the detail and stuff I thought was brilliant. And I really enjoyed it. It was nice. It felt like sitting and watching, a classic. I know there's been a few other Robocop films, and I think they remade the film back in 2014. I don't. I think I've watched it, but I prefer the original, if I'm honest. Not to say the remake was bad, but I don't think it's one of them. I think they should have just stuck with the original Robocop. There's no need to remake it. The original's brilliant. So that is all for today's episode. Thank you if you've viewed the videos, liked, subscribed, or even commented. It does mean a lot, and I really appreciate it. And I've enjoyed it today. Big science fiction fan. Not 100% up to date with every single episode, as you can tell, and not really gone into a lot of detail with the films, but then just mention it and talking about it, sometimes it just gets you in the mood. It's like, I've not seen that film for a long time, and it just makes you want to watch them. So yes, I do appreciate it. I will be back again tomorrow. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and I will see you soon.